Yes, yes, yes. A good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Exciting news this morning for Manchester United fans. Reports that a £17 million deal has been agreed between Porto and Manchester United for the Brazilian fullback with amazing attacking flair, brilliant defensive capabilities. A fullback that fans from all teams in the Premier League have been talking about for many, many years. He's on the edge, according to reports, of joining the Premier League, as I say, for a fee of £17 million. The only reason for the delay right now is Man United have requested to Porto, a club that we do have some history with, a club that we have a good relationship with, if the deal can be delayed until United secure the exit of at least one of their current defenders. That is likely to be Chris Smalling. Manchester United find, and this is, whether you agree with this or not, it seems to be the approach, especially with how they've briefed the newspapers in the last 24 hours about the £140 million losses they will face, as it's very unlikely fans are now to return to Premier League football over the course of this season. Because of the loss of money, Manchester United feel that it's imperative to balance the books. They want to remove Chris Smalling. He's £80,000 to £90,000 a week salary. By the way, is more than Man United will be paying Alex Telless, who will come in on £75,000 per week. They will also raise somewhere in the region of 20 million euros as a fee from Roma for the centre-back Chris Smalling. That covers the costs of Alex Telless, and they want to ensure they've got the exit before they sign on the dotted line to Alex Telless coming in. Now, I wish we didn't have the Glazers as owners. I wish they hadn't hemorrhaged money out of the football club over the course of the last 15 years, and we had the readies right now to secure this deal, to get it over the line with no concerns about having to sell people on. However, that is not the world we live in. That isn't the reality of Manchester United. And with £140 million of income gone from Manchester United because of CV19, it makes complete and utter sense for this to be done this way. Keep your eyes out for this news. It doesn't feel to me too long before we're going to get a complete and total agreement. Chris Smalling going to Roma, and then Alex Telless coming into Manchester United. The fee will be somewhere in the region of £17 million, which, by the way, is an absolute steal for a player whose valuation is somewhere in the region of £35 million. It's wonderful business, excellent negotiations by Manchester United. Yes, albeit protrude. It's protruded too long. It's taken too long this summer to get these deals done, but it is very, very close indeed. Do me a big, big favor and smash that like button right about now. Really want to hear your views, your thoughts, your opinions. Billy T here says, if we are not prepared to pay a measly 20 million for a talented left back, it says everything about the club's finances and ambitions moving forward. Do you know what, Billy? I think you're right in the sense it tells you everything about Man United's finances. It tells you everything that's wrong with the Glazers, that they have taken the richest football team in the world. They've extracted hundreds of millions of pounds out of us through dividends and interest. They have then employed a bunch of clowns to run this football club who have hemorrhaged money out the window for the past 7 years since Fergie retired. And now it's coming to a head. It's why we are now struggling to get these deals done during this time. We struggle to sell players because we bought so poorly, and it's making this a painful experience. But the deal is getting closer. Man United will pay the money. We've got Terry Tibbs back on the show with us now. Terry, good morning. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How's yourself?
I'm good. 3 days running we've heard from you. It's nice, mate. It's nice to hear from you. What do you make of this Alex Telless news this morning in terms of agreeing the fee up front, but doing a bit of business where we won't sign on the dotted line until Chris Smalling's gone? That looks like it will happen. Do you think that's sensible in the climate we're in, or do you just think that actually it demonstrates how bad the owners of Manchester United are? What's your opinion, mate?
I think it's a little bit of both, really, isn't it, mate? I think, first and foremost, I think it's about bloody time, and that you've got someone in, whether it be, Alex Telless, Sancho, it's about time you've done an actual deal.
Yeah.
I think, for the money that you've got him, my opinion, he's a 40 to 45 million pound player around that region. And if you get him for the 17 million that you know is being touted, I think it's an absolute steal. Defensively, I think he's got a few issues, but going forward, he's absolutely brilliant. But I think with the right players next to him, I think he'd be a really good buy for United. As far as I'm concerned, he's an upgrade on Shaw.
Without a doubt, and I think that I actually understand that the defensive elements. A lot of people say there's some issues there, and there definitely has been. I don't think he's going to have any more issues than that of a Luke Shaw. Young Brandon Williams at 20 years of age, I think he's got a lot of raw talent, but it's very rare for defenders of that age, especially fullbacks, to be brilliant. And that's why Trent Alexander-Arnold is...
This is my point.
He's a freak. He's a literal freak. And I mean that in a positive way. What he's doing at his age is, for me, and Alphonso Davies, it's just unprecedented. That fullbacks, when we were growing up watching football, even centre-backs, you didn't really look at them. You would like, oh, wait till they're 24, 25 before we say how good they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And this is the argument I have with a lot of fans, and I'll put it to you like this. See, there's two different types of world-class players, in my opinion. So you've got world-class players who become world-class through hard work and training. Then you've got players who are world-class. For instance, an example, Salah wasn't world-class when he was younger. Everyone could see he had potential. It's only the last 2 or 3 years where he's became world-class because of the right manager, right system, right club. The likes of Ronaldo and Messi, they're world-class at an early age, and you could see that they were world-class, and you're like, my God. So a lot of world-class players are actually moulded and shaped. This thing that fans have got where, oh, we need to buy world-class, where, you know, you can make world-class players. Klopp's proven that time and time again.
And Fergie, mate, and on your point, Fergie did that on a regular basis. Cristiano Ronaldo is obviously a famous example. Rooney and Ronaldo were tipped to go on and be stars, but he brought players into the club like Michael Carrick, who were regarded as good players, and they helped transform Manchester United. As an example, Vidic and Evra came in. It's about spotting the right talent, and it is. I know that this is thrown around a lot at the moment as a disrespectful term, but finding someone that fits your system is very, very important. So. And exactly. AWB, I like him as a defensive fullback, but he would be no good for Jurgen Klopp's system over the last few years that has relied on the fullbacks being playmakers, essentially, because you need fullbacks. So Alex Telless, in my opinion, if Robertson left tomorrow and Alex Telless went into the Liverpool system, I think he'd be very, very good for you, because he would definitely continue with that attacking flair. And Man United need that on the left-hand side. And there might be some games where we say, all right, today, we just need to be really defensive and solid. We're going to go with 3 at the back. Sure, you're playing as a centre-back because he's done that very well. And tell us, we just need you as a fullback. We need you as that outlet to bomb down that wing and get balls into the box. And we just don't have that on the left-hand side. In fact, we don't have it on the right-hand side either, if I'm being honest. AWB is better than Shaw and he's better than Brandon Williams. But we need that better. United have lacked width in terms of quality via fullbacks or wingers for a long, long time. And even Rashford and Martial that have done well in those positions, they like to come in on the inside, on their right foot. We have no one that likes to go on the outside on the left since Patrice Evra and be good at it. Patrice Evra left 7-8 years ago. These are areas that Ollie's addressing, and I'm glad that he's addressing. And in relation to having to sell before we buy, I do look at it 2 ways. From a business standpoint, this makes complete sense, because we are losing £140 million as an example. And we have been screaming at Man United as fans for 7-8 years to stop hemorrhaging money out the football club needlessly. Do good deals.
I mean, you can look at it. You can look at it 2 ways, like you've said. I mean, from Man United's perspective, to do it the way you've done it, where you're selling before you buy, is very good business in terms of what's best for the club. However, it also brings to life for United fans how much the Glazers have absolutely ringes. And then on top of that, you've got to ask yourself now is, okay, if these comments have come out where we've got to sell to buy, what's going to happen with Sancho? Because Dortmund are adamant they want at least 90 million up front, at least 90 million. That was reported.
Yeah, mate, and that's such a great question, and people are going to look at this 2 different ways. I think, in my view, Man United are going to have one more attempt at him in this window. That's how it feels to me. Otherwise, I think we would have come out by now and said, we're not even looking at Jadon Sancho this year. I think we'd have ended it. There'd be no point keeping it alive because, normally you say, oh, they're only doing it so everyone renews their season tickets. No one's going to. There's no logical reason to keep it alive if it isn't there. I think that we're being so frugal and I don't want to use the word tight because you've got to understand the financiers at Man United are working with restraints themselves. So I think what they're doing is if we can get other business done by selling and buying and trading and driving price down, that leaves us with the money for Sancho. However, I still think the likes of Jesse, what surprised me so far this year, and maybe this is clubs this could be clubs trying to drive Man United's price down. And this is where fans have to understand. And by the way, this is all because, as you've said, the Glazers have rinsed us and we've put ourselves in this position. But we're in a situation where clubs know we need to sell Lingard, we need to sell Pereira, we need to sell Rojo, we need to sell Jones, Smalling. They know we need to sell all those players if we're genuinely going to bring in Sancho and Telless as an example. So they're going to make us wait until the 11th hour because say we're asking for 20 million for Lingard, they're going to push us to the end of our tether. So hopefully we say, okay, look, we'll take 15 then. And that's how these negotiate. And that is, I think all these things are delaying the inevitable. If we had 4 bids come in today, and Jones, Smalling, Pereira, and Lingard all got bought for a combined total of 40 million pounds, maybe a bit more. And their 40 million pound a year total combined salaries were wiped off of our books. I think you would see both the Telless and Sancho deals done very, very quickly indeed. But sorry, go on.
100%, mate, and I agree with you. But the issue that you've got at the minute, Terry, and this is no disrespect to Man United, but the issue that you've got at the minute is no one's interested in Phil Jones. No one's interested.
I get that. I think there is outside interest from a few areas. However, you're right, and this is again another something else that's damaging Ollie, which is making me support him even more. The reason why those players got new deals over a year, it's one reason and one reason only. It's to protect their asset. And this is what clubs will always give someone a new deal, even when they want to get rid of them now, because none of those players got any type of pay rise. Even like when Ashley Young did a new deal, there was no kind of pay rise. It does one thing. It keeps the players at the club in case you can't sign somebody else. Otherwise, you could end up in a situation where, let's say you let all 4 of them go on a free, and then you don't manage to secure a new signing, you've got an empty squad. And sometimes bodies are just bodies. You need someone there as an example. But at the same time, if you let their contracts run down, people can pick them off for free. Where what United have tried to do is renew contracts and put themselves in a situation where people come in and buy them. The problem is that these people are on such ludicrous money because we broke our wage structure that the players are sitting there. If you're Phil Jones on 90 grand a week or so at Man United, and I don't know, West Ham come in for you and they say, we'll pay you 35 grand a week. There's an element of Phil Jones that's going to say, look, I still think he's only 24, 25. He's just going to say, well, I'll just do my last year and a half of my contract, earn my 90 grand a week, and then I'll go somewhere for free anyway. United have put themselves in this position. They've put Ollie in this position, again, for 7, 8, 9, 10 years of being run poorly. What United probably need to try and do, and this will still help secure Telless and Sancho, is loan these players out. The reason we're getting Chris Smalling was in the Serie A League Team of the Year last year. We need to start utilising the loan market so much better, putting these players out there to clubs and at levels where they're going to do well, so then somebody wants to buy them. We've just been so poor at that.
I watched the Italian league last season, and to my surprise, Chris Smalling actually really did well in the league. He was actually really decent. And then it comes back to that thing of, you've got Lindelof there, a 30-odd million pound defender he's awful. I would rather get Smalling back off the loan for Roma, have him for another year. I know towards the end he was terrible for you, but I'd get him back from Roma, and I'd literally just sell Lindelof because he was so highly rated, Lindelof, before you bought him by a lot of managers.
No, I agree. He's completely flopped here. And again, his issue is a mental thing. He doesn't have a pair of balls, mate. He has no bravery in what he does, and that comes through. But no, I get where you're coming from, mate. Listen, Terry, I really appreciate you coming on the show, mate, and having your say. Excellent points as always, mate. We'll chat to you soon, brother.
See you soon, mate.
Sot, man, take you. One of the best scousers we have, and legit scousers that we have on this show. Dave Hayes here says, we need the Glazers out. We need all fan channels and supporters group to come together with a goal of getting the Glazers out. Listen, I'm more than happy to back that. but it simply means you need to stop spending money at the football club, and it will happen very quickly. Pav, thank you for upgrading and becoming an official member. Well, upgrading your membership at the Football Terrace and becoming a legendary member here means a great deal to us. We're going to jump on to the next call here. This is Kish. Kish, welcome back to the Football Terrace. What do you want to say, my friend?
Yeah, Terry, can you hear me?
Perfect, bro. What do you make of this news about Alex Telless? £17 million fee agreed, but we have to wait until we sell somebody before we can bring him in. Give me your views and opinions, mate.
Yeah, I think for the fullback position, I think we definitely need a fullback that's go forward, that's attacking. And I mean, 17 million for Telless. Recently I heard reports about 20 million, 25 up in that region. So if we get it down to 17, but we have to sell like a Chris Smalling to Roma first, then it's perfectly fine. The thing with me, Terry, is that I would like to see where we'll get the deals done before the season starts, because I mean, getting the deals done is all good and when we have the player, but just getting them settled before the season starts in the preseason. Although we just had one game. I don't know if you would even call it a preseason, but I mean, 17 million euros. I mean, it would be a brilliant deal for Manchester United. But Terry, I just wanted to touch on one thing that Patrice ever said, right? And it's about Matt Judge, when he said you have people basically from top clubs calling him to tell Matt Judge to answer his phone. I mean, the Glazers looking at it, and people like Ed Woodward. I mean, it's just a disgrace, when you hear somebody like a Patrice ever saying that, basically.
No, mate, I understand that. I think, like I said about that yesterday, and I love Patrice Evra, and I don't want to defend Matt Judge. I want to understand the context of who and what and why they wanted to speak to him. It really does depend in relation to that. But there is no doubt that we've done wrong poorly in the past. We've had the wrong people in charge at the very top. We've had a poor board. We've hemorrhaged money, and what Man United fans, in my opinion, are witnessing this summer is everything that's been wrong with the club because of what CV19 has done to football financially. We're seeing it all come to head. We're seeing a situation where there's a potential here of signing a £40 million player for 17 million quid. So people are going, why aren't we buying him? And it's because we're losing 140 million pounds of income. Now, even that, Man United have been very clever in how they've briefed the media with this. They've briefed the media with, it's the most of any Premier League football club. It is, but it is relative in the sense of you have to actually look at what percentage of Man United's turnover is generated through match day income. It's actually less than, you might have a team like Man City that are losing 50 to 80 million pound in match day revenue. That's because they've got no fans in comparison to us. So, but that's a much bigger percentage of their yearly turnover than Manchester United's. So, and in fact, like Arsenal are losing 122 million in match day revenue, but that's about 30% of their overall turnover. We're only losing about 12% of ours. So a bit more than that, sorry, about 20%. So as bad as it is, it's projected in a way to show fans we're really struggling financially. But the only reason we're struggling financially with this is because of the money that's been taken out over the last 15 years and because of how much we've hemorrhaged on buying the wrong players and how much we have spent in terms of renewing contracts of players that are not worth it. And I think for me, that's why it's so difficult this summer. Because from my point of view, I understand why we're doing the business the way we are this summer. However, if we would have been this sensible and if we would have been this frugal and if we would have been this diligent for the past 7 or 8 years, forget what the Glazers have taken out in interest payments and dividends because we can't control that. Matt Judge and Woodward can't control that. If we'd have just been this sensible with how we've done our business for the last 7 or 8 years, we'd have enough money in the bank to not worry about this. So we are right still to be angry. There's no doubt about it.
Because if you look at it in the last 6 or 7 years, since Sir Alex left, the Glazers will always take up money. And I mean, it can't stop unless all of us just boycott the club and, stop spending money on, the kids, etc., and subscriptions to MUTV. But if you look at the business we've done, for example, you look at Man City, the average, money they spend on a signing, and Liverpool as well is around maybe 50-something million, upwards, thereabout. I think the most was Virgil van Dijk, right?
Yeah.
Who signed Harry Maguire for like 80-something million. Cool. But if you look at it under David Moyes, when we could have picked up key players like a Thiago, Cruz, we would have these players now where they would be aging now and then would be replacing them with your Jadon Sancho, your João Felix and all these players.
Mate, listen, I agree with you. Man United as you've said, we've overspent. And sometimes I feel like Woodward gets a buzz off it. Like if Woodward spends the most amount of money, he thinks, yeah, I'm the man. Well, actually, I'd rather you have got Angel Di Maria 20 million pounds cheaper, mate. I would have rather you got, and that's where we've gone wrong. And the problem is Man United financially over the past 15 years, and have been burning the candle at both ends. When your owners are spending tens of millions a year on interest and tens of millions a year in dividends, and at the same time, since David Gill and Fergie left, I don't know how much we've overspent, but we've spent somewhere in the region just on transfers of 800 to 900 million. And I would say 400 million pounds of that has either been wasted on the wrong players or overspent. So even if the players failed, what we've bought them in for and then sold them on for has been too much coming in and too less going out. And there comes a time, and we all know this, it's a very simple sort of like, burn the candle at both ends. At some point, you run out of wick and wax very, very, very quickly. But bro, I appreciate your call and your points. Thank you very much, Kish. Mike Son here says, I think most of the failings to perform, I think of most, so I'm trying to read this properly. I think most of the failings to perform Man U players are displaying is because of the Man United fans' behavior and treatment towards them. Oh, look, I agree with you on that one 100%. My friend Mike, I think that United fans do play a big part in this as well, because there's no point being angry with the players because of what the Glazers and Wood would have done to us financially. That would make no sense. Mike as well, thank you for upgrading to become a legendary member of the Football Terrace. We really appreciate that here a lot. If you do want to become a member of the Football Terrace, I'm just sharing in the comment section right now. I'm probably going to spam it for a few seconds. That's the link to become an official member of the Football Terrace. Lots more member-only chats we're doing in streams now. And once the transfer window's over and we've got more time, we are going to be doing a lot more early release and member-only content as well. And I'm going to try once a month to do some gaming on FIFA where legendary members only will get to come and play against me, join in, have a chat, stuff like that. I do some more of these comments here. This is from Bricktop. I love the name. Says, I don't think matchday revenue adds that much if you consider the wage bill for a match day, not including players, of course, but then the tax we pay on it, probably a gross thing. Yes, we lose 140 in income, but you've got to understand that we're probably saving 60 million on expenditure in that same time. So of course there's a gross element to look at as well that's very, very important. I think what Man United need to look at, and I'm surprised clubs haven't done this quicker, they need to look at a different way of getting money in from fans. I'm not suggesting a GoFundMe because that will never fly, but maybe some type of membership and access all areas, exclusive interviews with players. Like if they did something where twice a week you could do like a live interaction with players, maybe get some access all areas into the dressing rooms and training grounds and things, maybe behind time, so we're not giving away just something that they can think of that where fans can subscribe and pay a couple of £1 a month. I think globally, you get a couple of million fans that pay like $2.99 a month for something along those lines. You can recoup a lot of this money. It's a hard one. I don't want to give money to the football club. But if it meant we could get the Jadens of this world in this summer, I think I'd almost bend myself into doing it. But as long as I knew that money was going on to players, I probably wouldn't mind. Terry, what's going on with Telless? Listen, I'll recap again from the top. What I've read and been told this morning is that Manchester United have agreed a fee of £17 million with Porto for the signing of Brazilian fullback Alex Telless. However, there is a big however with this. Manchester United are not going to make it formal and bid officially and push on with the deal until they secure the exit of a player. Now, that's most likely to be Chris Smalling to Roma for a fee of around 20 million euros. United simply feel they have to balance the books this summer more so than ever before, with 140 million pounds of income being wiped off the books due to no fans being allowed to get to games since March of 2020, and most likely for the majority of the 2020 and 21 season. So from a financial standpoint, it makes a lot of sense, but I completely understand and concur with the frustration, because we shouldn't be in this position. If our owners were better, if we behave better as a football club, we simply wouldn't have ourselves in a situation like this. There's no doubt about it at all in my mind. A comment here says, go get Telless right now. Kai Havertz, a Chelsea fan, says, I wish I was Pogba. That guy can do anything he wants. He owns Manchester United. Do you reckon that this bad news coming out is United pulling out? So when we sign Telless and Sancho, the fans would be more happy and don't think about it. Ryan, I don't quite know what you're saying. What bad news? I don't know what bad news you mean about the money being lost. I think Man United are briefing the press about how much money they're losing to try and make people understand why it's harder to do business this summer. The problem is that we're seeing Chelsea do business. We're seeing City will do more business. Liverpool are doing business. Spurs are about to do a madness. We're going to cover that later on today. They could have Milan Skriniar going into their club at 50, 60 million plus what else they've spent. Man United have to pull their finger out. Man United have to get the business done one way shape. Bring Alex Telless in, bring in Sancho with Van der Beek and the other Avengers. Man United are in a good position for the season. No doubt about it. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Thank you. Arsenal contact here said it's not easy to bring in a manager and then another, and then another. They don't like the same players, and that's why you are where you are. That's absolutely right as well. You just have this situation where Ollie is relying on an incompetent board to clear out well below par players that nobody in world football rates, who are earning a small fortune a week in salaries. It's almost an impossible and perfect storm at the same time to better remove people and bring in better quality, especially when we've hit a global pandemic and money is tight everywhere and people will try to exploit Man United for the weaknesses that we've shown in the past. It's the boy that's cried wolf. The chickens have come home to roost this summer for Ed Woodward. And it's why I'm more supportive now of Ollie than I've ever been before. You can call in. The Skype lines are open if you want to come on and have your say. Looking forward to receiving a few more calls from people. Make sure you're hitting that like button right now. We're only on 357 likes. We should be on 2,000 likes by now. Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, please. We've got Daniel Hardwick on the line with us now. Daniel, let us know who you support.
I support Man United.
You're a Man United fan. The Alex Telless deal appears to be closing in. What do you make of the news this morning that we've got to sell before we buy him? Do you think that's sensible? Do you find that frustrating? Or do you believe this is just nonsense being fed into the media by Manchester United?
I think if it's true, then I think it's ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, as a club like Manchester United, we shouldn't have to be selling Chris Smalling to get 15, 16, 17 million to then bring in another player. I know, obviously, we've got the pandemic and stuff, but other teams spending money. Pretty much every team has outspent us.
Yeah.
We're haggling to sell Chris Smalling to get in a £17 million defender. Like, it's just, I mean, what's the chances of us getting Sancho if that's the case? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand that train of thought. And as we said, I think United are going to go in for, I think a lot of what's being done behind the scenes is to try and have the money there ready. I suppose the big hammer blow to Man United this week has been the fact that there was a lot of hope because they were testing it, that some fans of some level could return to games at Manchester United at some point in the season. Even for us, if you could have got sort of 10,000 in, it's still extra money in through the door. I think what's happening here, like I've said, I'm not trying to defend Matt Judge and Woodward because they are a big part of this problem, but it's all the problems of the last 15 years financially coming home to roost. And I think that United want to put themselves in a position where I think if we were going after, like we said before, I think we're still trying to sign. If we pulled out of Sancho tomorrow, signing Telless, signing Thomas Partey wouldn't be an issue because they're much cheaper. Like if we were to sign Thomas Partey, Alex Telless, and Van der Beek, those three deals collectively are not going to cost us as much money as Sancho. So that's why other teams are doing business. Barring Chelsea, that have had 2 summers rolled into one, and they have an oligarch owner. Every other club has sort of spent 60, 70 million on 2 or 3 players, where we're looking to do that, plus bring in a £120 million player. So there is a significant difference in what we're trying to do and achieve. But I'm not defending the club overall. You can't, because we shouldn't be here. We have £1.5 billion has been taken out in dividends and interest payments. And I would say a good 400 to 600 million overspent on signings and wages since Fergie left on players. You add that together, it's nearly £2 billion of cash taken out of our football club. We not only should we be breezing through a global pandemic, we should be able to sign players that we don't even want just to stop our rivals from getting players and loaning them out. Like, that's where Man United should be as a football club. And I know that sounds like, but by the way, if I owned them and I had the money to do it, I would run us like that. I would make us so rich that if I knew Liverpool were after a player we wanted, I'd just buy the guy and then loan him out somewhere and be like, yeah, you're like, and that sounds harsh, right? I used to do that to my brothers when we used to play Football Manager. If they wanted a player and they were like a smaller team than me and I had money, I'd buy them and not even play them just to wind them up. I would do that. We've added O'Shea to the call here as well. Stay on the line though, Daniel. O'Shea, what do you make of this news this morning, my brother?
Look, if you guys sign Telless, then I do think he improves your squad and your team. And like you said on streams before, when people have made fun of Maguire, does he come in and improve the team? Yes. So it really makes no difference. Telless comes in and improves Manchester United. The only question I want to ask you, Terry, is the comment you just said before I called in was that United are not ready to make an official bid for Telless because they need to balance the books, so they have to get players off the books like Smalling. The issue with that is, let's say you do that. Let's say Smalling is signed by Roma on a permanent deal, and you sign Telless for 17 million.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't the same thing going to have to be done if you guys want to sign Partey? And who are you looking to move on? Because United don't other than Smalling, I can't think of any other player that's
I understand that. So let me just address that. So I don't think we're going to try and sign Thomas Partey. The point I was making, if we pull it, because I think there is in and around the finances to secure Jadon Sancho. I don't know why we're waiting this long to put bids in. There's all sorts of rumors, but that's there. I'm saying if we bid 90 million for Sancho already this year, like it's rumored, there's that money there, right? The point is, if we pull out of Sancho, that money then goes back into the pot to be spent, and you could just then go and buy a Partey and Alex Telless, because clearly 42 million plus 17 million doesn't equate to 90 million. That's the point. What we can't do, if we want to sign Sancho and then a Partey, we've got to sell Matic and Fred probably to raise enough funds and have squad space. That's my point. So for me, I think Man United are in a situation where they've got something ring fenced for Sancho. If anybody else is coming in aside from that, players need to lead before they come in, especially the likes of the Smallings, Phil Jones, Lingard. These players are not only the biggest issue is their salary. They are on so much money for players of their standard. Like Alex Telless is coming in as a renowned fullback, someone that I don't care that people are going to downplay him now because he's going to Man United. This guy's name has been on the lips of fans for 2 or 3 years. I've seen him. Like we spoke about Gabriel, for instance, when no one spoke about this guy ever, and suddenly he signs for Arsenal. It's like, oh, who is he? Like Alex Telless has been a name that I've seen mentioned on timelines, on streams, on phone calls, on my shows for a couple of years. He's going to come in on 75 grand a week. That's less than Smalling. It's about 10,000 less than Phil Jones. And it's about 30 grand less than Jesse Lingard. That just shows how bad our wage structuring has been over the course of the last 5 years, where you have players who are not even average, who are well below average at the elite level, that are earning more than top stars in Europe. And I think for me, that's why we're doing it. Now, I'm not defending it, because we're only in this position because we've been run poorly in the past. And you often see this if the financial industry that I'm from, the amount of money that's being hemorrhaged now by banks because of bad actions in the past. And they call it legacy problems. PPI is a great example. Legacy problems, mis-selling of insurance products, legacy. They're hemorrhaging billions of pounds a year back to customers. So as much as they're making billions, they're losing billions at the same time because of legacy problems. Man United have basically, what we're now seeing is our version of our own PPI problem at Manchester United. 15 years of being run poorly. We hit a crisis financially in the football world, and our chickens are coming home to roost. And if this doesn't highlight to fans and this is where it becomes chicken and egg for Man United fans. It's very easy for me to say, let's stop putting money in. But if we do stop putting money in and the Glazers don't sell, if that action doesn't work, then we're really screwed because we lose even more. So United fans right now, they will feel like we're between a rock and a hard place. If Man United set up a fund today to go and fund the transfers, United fans will go, I want to do it, but where's the money actually going to go? That's what happens when you have bad owners. So for me, go on, mate.
sorry, I was just gonna say, do you not think, right, when with what you're saying, right? Because my opinion when it comes to the Sancho deal is that obviously as a Liverpool fan, I hope you don't sign Sancho. I really do. But let me take my Liverpool hat off for a second and just look at this as a footballing fan. I personally think that you guys need to sign Sancho, not just because of the improvement the player makes for you, but because of the impact and the statement that he makes. Because personally, I think, and I want to know what you guys think about this, but I feel like if you guys don't sign Sancho this season, that could spell the end for Manchester United as in the transfer window going forward. I don't mean permanently, but for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. That could spell the end for Manchester United in the transfer window as this dominant bully who can sign anyone.
See, I disagree with you completely. I think we've already lost that. And I'm not saying about being bullies. The reason we can't bully anyone. Like see, I think you're for me. I think you've got it back to front. We don't bully anyone because we've been so poor in the transfer market for the last up until Ollie's time. I really think we've been poor in the transfer market. We've signed the wrong players. Right. We've overpaid for people, and people are taking the mick. This is also what's going on right now. How we've gone about our business. For instance, walking away from Reguilon. That's the right business. Right. Man United 3 years ago would have offered Thiago double the wages that you guys are offering him just to sign him. We're behaving better. The problem we have is that we're trying to behave better. We're trying to be frugal with our money. We're trying to be more sensible. We're trying to reassert ourselves, but we're doing it when a global pandemic is hit and when fans are desperate for a society. We're having to do it in the worst environment possible. So I don't necessarily think not getting Sancho will kill us in the transfer market. It will definitely stop us from being anywhere near challenging for titles moving forward this season. It's just a precarious situation. What I do think for a certainty is that whatever happens, this highlights how bad the Glazers have run Manchester United for the last 15 years. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I don't just mean as like a bully force. You're right in saying, look, that kind of time is over for United as that bully. But I just mean that pull, because you look at United, right, and yeah, you're still linked with Sancho.
Yeah, but it's not about Paul, though. Sancho's agreed to join us. Personal terms are not a problem. It's about Man United having the right relationships with football clubs. Matt Judge and Woodward have damaged relationships with lots of football clubs. The way we've done business with the Reguilon situation, the way we've done things in the Haaland world, the way we've done things this season, if we pick up Alex Telless for £70 million, who's a £37 million player, that's excellent business. The problem is that we've got to balance the books, because if fans are still going to games, we would sign Telless before getting rid of other players. We just would. The problem is we're now trying to behave properly. Just think about this, right? Let's put Sancho aside. When Telless gets announced, essentially we're bringing in Van der Beek and Telless for almost less money than Chelsea just spent on Ben Chilwell. That isolated is amazing business. However, it's a drop in the ocean to how bad things have been before. It will take 2 or 3 years of doing business at that level for people to start respecting Man United in the transfer market again. Equally, that goes a long way to securing and fixing the wage structure at the club. When the wage structure is secure, which we're now trying to reinvent, it means it's easier to sell players on because they're on less money. They're actually being paid a sensible sum for a player of their ability. It makes it easier for the player to agree to move clubs because they're not taking a massive... Imagine going from 70, 80, 90,000 pound a week to 20,000 pound a week. Now, for me and you, they're still rich. But from their point of view, the lifestyle they've got, their money's dropping by 60, 70%. They're not going to agree to it. Why would you agree to change jobs and get paid less? So it's just going to take years to get through it. The problem we have, though, is that we're hamstrung because of the Glazers. They hemorrhage money out of our club, and I don't see that changing until we make a stand against it. But O'Shea, I appreciate you coming on. Daniel as well. Thank you both very much for your points, and everyone who's tuned in this morning. Nathan Smith has become a first-team member of the Football Terrace. That really means a lot. And so has Sal CFC has also become a first-team member. Really means a great deal to us that you've signed up and become official members of the Football Terrace. It really makes us proud and very, very humble. Ahmed here with a super chat says, more like 5 years and a competent manager. I hear you. I do hear you when you say that. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, I really appreciate it. And great call today. Really good challenge there from O'Shea. I think it raises a lot of questions, but I stand by what I say. I think we're trying to behave properly this window. I think we're trying to do business in the right way this window. We're hamstrung because of what the Glazers have done. It's going to take us still 2 or 3 more years to come through this, but how we come through it is by behaving properly. And like I said yesterday about the Ollie argument with the board, we cannot deviate from the plan. We cannot deviate from the way we've been behaving for the past 12 or so months in the transfer market. That is the only way that we will reassert ourselves with any kind of credibility and power and status within that area of football. We still, in my opinion, need some type of director of football. I've changed my opinion on that in recent weeks. I think we do. I think we need to change. It's not even the role. Forget the name of the role. A new person, someone with some credibility, somebody that has the ability to go in and be a different face and change those relationships. I've done it in my industry where a particular member of my team is not getting on with a major client of ours. And it's like, okay, Terry, how about you go in and have a conversation? Even though we're the same company, you go in as a fresh face with slightly new ideas, different personality. You can rekindle that relationship. That is what Manchester United need to do. It's imperative, in my opinion. But do me a big favor. Please smash the like button for us right about now. Thank you to everybody that's become a new member of the Football Terrace. It means a great deal to us that people have done that. And I also need a big favor from you all as well. I need a really big favor from all of you. I'm going to share the link in the live comment section right about now as well. We have a new channel that we've started called the Football Terrace Clips. It's co-owned by myself and Elite KJ. So you're really supporting KJ and his endeavors as well. I'm sharing the link for that right now. I'm spamming it into the comment section. Please go and subscribe to our Clips channel. I think we're on about 1,700 subscribers over there right now, but that needs to grow massively. We've got 166,000 subscribers now on the Football Terrace. We should be on 30, 40,000 over there easy. So I need you guys to sign up for that right now, where lots of different clips from our shows will be posted for you. And much more coming over the course of the season. Well, yeah, we're on 1,780. Let's throw that past 2,000 today, please, ladies and gentlemen. Really important that we get that done. Go and subscribe to that. I've spammed it in the comment section there for you all. Listen, until next time, everybody, take care. Oh, actually, we've got no, Sal there. We've done that one already. Listen, but until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.